Welcome back to the B Block of Weed Talk News. I'm Alaina Pinto. In New England, the only state to be holding out on the legal adult use market is New Hampshire. Last week, we reported that for the first time, an adult use state operated legalization of cannabis for adults passed the state's Judiciary Committee. Now, this week, the Senate there has taken that bill and passed it. It now moves on to the House and is awaiting New Hampshire Governor Chris Sununu's signature. Once that happens, all 6 New England states will have legal adult use through the region. There are still issues with the newest New England state to legalize adult use, and that's Connecticut. In fact, changes in the laws are being discussed in their state government right now. It's a bill targeting the sale of products created by hemp, which in the 2018 Farm Bill offered farmers an opportunity to grow the less than 0.3% of THC product. Now, we all know what's happened since then, right? All you have to do is send your kid into a gas station or convenience store to purchase products that are made from hemp. And now that people have figured out how to get high from hemp and the THCA that is in it, it is now the time for the government and many other state governments to crack down on the underage sale of intoxicating products. Well, Connecticut could be the next state to ban these products and make them all illegal to sell to minors. Hemp farmers in that state continue to do what they are told. They seed their fields with a legal crop with under 0.3% of THC. And now that is in danger of changing. The reworking of the federal Farm Bill of 2024 also continues to be discussed in Congress. Remember, this is the same plant, cannabis sativa, that is called hemp. If it has less than that 0.3% threshold for THC, the intoxicating cannabinoid in the plant. It looks like there will be 2 sets of regulations for the plant with or without a larger percentage of THC. But no matter the result, don't you think that all these products should only be available for adults over the age of 21? Well, reality is that the test results and getting the THC percentage right continues to be a challenge for all states, including Oregon. Here's Marianne Kursashi.
I'm Marianne from Alibi with this week's Oregon Cannabis Report for Weed Talk News. This past week marked the 12th annual Cannabis Industry Lobby Days in Washington, D.C. Oregon was proud to represent and be part of the movement. Attorney Mia Getlin and Tucker Holland from Entourage all showed up and advocated for federal reforms. Key messages from this year were support for retroactive 280E, the Safer Banking Act, the MORE Act, and the States Reform Act. Most of the talk around the industry this past week has been about rescheduling. We will see what impact rescheduling has on the industry. At a minimum, it allows for 280E deductions, which will jumpstart the profitability of dispensaries and wholesalers. And finally, the OLCC continues to enforce strict interpretations of the regulations. Lab testing audits are increasing as the effort to mitigate inflated THC scores continues. THC score inflation is problematic because customers often use this score as a proxy for quality and make buying choices based on potency. This couldn't be further from the truth, and re-educating consumers and dispensary buyers is crucial to put a stop to the focus on potency for flower products. That's the Oregon Cannabis Report for this week. I'm Marianne with Alibi for Weed Talk News.
The state of Texas may have the largest Delta 8 products for open sale all over their state. So let's check in with our Texas correspondent, Lisa Williams, to find out what is going on in the Lone Star State.
I'm Lisa Williams, founder of the Toke Agency, with the Texas Cannabis Report for Weed Talk News. Saddle up, y'all. We got the good old boys network coming at ya. Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick is pushing for state senators to consider banning or regulating Delta 8 and Delta 9 products due to concerns about accessibility to children and teens. The State Senate Affair Committee will hold a public testimony in 2 weeks discussing the regulation of these hemp-derived products. Hemp was federally legalized in 2018 and in Texas in 2019, defining hemp with cannabis less than 0.3% Delta-9 THC, leading to the emergence of products like Delta-8. Concerns raised include increases in child ER visits due to THC edible consumptions and teenagers' easy access to these products with potential issues of impaired driving. Advocates for the hemp-derived cannabis products support additional regulations like compliance testing and age verification, but oppose a complete ban, fearing it would drive consumers to the black market. The Texas Cannabis Collective anticipates arguments against the product during the hearing, emphasizing the need for regulation balance rather than a ban. With the federal rescheduling of cannabis, Texas faces a critical juncture in cannabis policy, and the hearing is scheduled for May 29th at 9 a.m., allowing a 2-minute public testimony and written submissions. I'm Lisa Williams, founder of the Toke Agency with the Texas Cannabis Report for Weed Talk News.
Ohio continues to be on track to open adult use sales earlier than expected by offering to expand a license to the medical dispensaries in that state. Harry Bernstein is right in the middle of what is going on in his state. Here's his Ohio Cannabis Report.
This is Harry Bernstein with Verde Compliance Partners and the Ohio Cannabis Report for Weed Talk News. Great news for Ohio cannabis enthusiasts. As we predicted last month, right here on Weed Talk News, Ohio's legislature has approved the application process for adult use licenses. The application process is set to begin on June 7th, and sales could launch that very same month, making Ohio one of the fastest states to implement a voter-approved adult use cannabis program. According to the recently approved rules, all indications are that products already approved for the medical program could be sold for adult use. This is fantastic news for current medical cannabis licensees, as they may be able to fast-track their entry into the adult use market by obtaining the new dual-use licenses. However, the quick launch, along with supply pressure, could lead to shortages and price spikes. Cannabis firms such as Cresco Labs have already confirmed potential supply issues. It's crucial for regulators and businesses to work together to ensure a smooth transition and adequate supply for both medical patients and adult use consumers. In addition to the adult use market, we believe the next major issue to be dealt with is the unregulated intoxicating hemp-derived products market. The governor and legislator have expressed the need to address this concern. While it could be tackled as early as this summer, it's more likely to be addressed in the fall sessions. This is an important issue that could significantly impact the cannabis industry in Ohio, and we'll be closely monitoring any developments. Despite these challenges, the future of Ohio's cannabis industry is looking brighter than ever. With the application process set to begin and potential sales launching in June, Ohio is positioning itself as a leader in the Midwest cannabis market. Stay tuned to Weed Talk News for the latest updates and insights on this exciting development. And remember, you heard it here first. That's the Ohio Cannabis Report for this week. I'm Harry Bernstein with Verde Compliance Partners and Weed Talk News.
Another advocacy group in our nation's capital is the Marijuana Policy Project. This week, they released a report on the total amount of tax money the industry has paid since Colorado and Washington State were the first states to legalize adult use. That market, commonly referred to as the recreational market, is $20 billion. Medicinal figures, including the total number of registered patients, is a completely different amount and is closer to 64 million, not billion. There are approximately just under 4 million registered patients who use cannabis medicinally. In the US, when it comes to numbers, there is one state and city that is growing exponentially, and that is Nevada, where they have adult use and medical cannabis programs. If you've ever visited Las Vegas, also known as the adult playground, there are a number of legal adult vices. The biggest one is gaming in casinos. But is there a growing conflict with that? Well, here's Tina Tasaka from the 702 with her Nevada report.
I'm Tina Tasaka with 420 Technologies, and this is the Nevada report for Weed Talk News. When you think of Las Vegas, you think of one word: casinos. Las Vegas is the entertainment and casino capital of the world. Now, with the recent world buzz and President Biden escalating the forthcoming rescheduling of marijuana from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3, what does this mean for a bright light city that does not mix casino and cannabis together? First, let's understand the landscape in Nevada when it comes to having casino license and a cannabis license. Well, that is a no to a no-no. Back in 2017-2018, there were gaming license holders that desired to buy into the cannabis industry, but the Gaming Policy Committee, a 12-member advisory board, hashed out a resolution that would become the standard that all Nevada gaming licenses had to adhere to since then. The resolution stated unequivocally that Nevada casino licensees should be nowhere near cannabis. In other words, can the owner of a gaming establishment also have ownership in a cannabis business? And could a gaming establishment have cannabis-related activities on their premises? The 2018 resolution made it clear the answer is absolutely no to both. In August, the Cannabis Policy Institute will host a panel discussion on gaming and cannabis at UNLV's Boyd School of Law. The gaming industry should start reassessing their positions. Brianna Durrett, director of the Cannabis Policy Institute at UNLV, told Casinos.com, "The last time there was serious and deliberative public discourse on this issue was in 2018, and a lot has changed since then. We should dust off that conversation." So we will certainly continue to follow these conversations and activities surrounding these intriguing talks and where it leads with the gaming regulators to rethink their stance on marijuana. Las Vegas consumption lounges are setting the gold standard, and the globe is taking notice. Representatives from Cannabis Compliance in Guam jetted into Las Vegas to tour the consumption lounges and understand the nuances and other areas of opportunity. In visiting Smoke and Mirrors, they learned firsthand best practices. Discussion points during the tour included room ventilation, how to prevent overconsumption, and questions to ask patrons, minimizing impaired driving, and destroying leftover cannabis. They also learned setting up health inspections and overall sharing ideas. God, I love this. Not only has Las Vegas been the gold standard for casinos across the globe, we are now setting the gold standard in cannabis too. Well, that's it for the 702. I'm Tina Tasaka with 420 Technologies and Weed Talk News.
With the federal movement of cannabis from the most restricted category of controlled substances to a lesser one at Schedule 3, the must-have had an effect on cannabis stocks. Even when there was little hope for change, even a glimmer of positive news sends these volatile stocks soaring. So when it comes to the stock market, we turn to Doug Miller for advice. Here's this week's High on Wall Street report.
I'm Doug Miller from High on Wall Street with this week's cannabis stock report for Weed Talk News. Since April 30th, when it was announced that the DEA would reclassify marijuana from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3, the cannabis stocks all surged on the news. But they've been pulling back and dipping the last few weeks. As we get closer to the rescheduling, you're going to see these cannabis stocks start moving again, as we are with a few of them. Let's take a look at the ETF MSOS, Advisor Shares Pure U.S. Cannabis ETF. That follows the U.S. cannabis companies. It ran up over $11 on the news April 30th, and it has dipped back to the $9 area. Now it's trading around $9.60, and it's setting up the run. These things are going to pop and explode. So watch for dips and trade smart. And that's this week's Cannabis Stock Report. Reporting for Weed Talk News, I'm Doug Miller.
9 states down. We've got a few more to go. So don't go away. Weed Talk News continues after this break.
It's a whole new world of weed out there, isn't it? Everyone is learning new ways to titrate, ingest, consume, imbibe, and engage with this plant medicine we call cannabis. Now, let me tell you my cannabis story. You know, I've had 4 major surgeries in the past 23 years and suffer from osteoarthritis with a variety of metal parts in my body and one on deck. Now, thanks to those chronic pain issues, I've been a medical patient in Massachusetts for almost 10 years now. I remember my first trip to a dispensary just outside of Boston, and I told the bud tender I didn't want to smoke it anymore. So I tried edibles, then tinctures, then vaping, and now if I'm going to smoke, I only use the Weegits filtration system. What? The Weegits.com, Weegits, that's weed, W-E-E-D, G-E-T-S.com, is where you'll find the planet's coolest product that cools the smoke from everyone's favorite flower. The guy that started this was a pretty good medical device manufacturer, and he created this maze pipe that cools the smoking process from 1300 degrees Fahrenheit upon inflammation down to just 90 degrees when it reaches your mouth. That's right, 1300 down to 90. That's why this maze pipe is amazing. Now, add in the code of PCMTV and you get 15% off. So just go to Weegits.com and check out the best way to enjoy a cooler smoke with less coughing and hacking and more peace of mind.